Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Angie and in today's video I'm making a few more Christmas crafts, so let's get started. Okay, for this project I'm going to be using something a little wacky. It is the used oxygen hoses from my husband's oxygen machine that I've put a piece of wire through one piece of hose, attached it together, and then took all the remainder and just curled it around to form this base. And then I sprayed it white and then spritzed some metallic silver and gold paint in just different areas around it. And I'm going to use this as my wreath base and see if this will turn out. So I don't know, it's a little strange, a little out there, but I'm going to see what I can do. Like I said, I cut a piece of stiff wire and put it through a piece of the hose to make about a 14-inch circle and then twisted the ends together. I then just started looping all the hose pieces around the center ring just like you would with a grapevine wreath. I continued doing that until I ran out of pieces. I also used small pieces of wire to help hold some of the sections together. I know this seems like a strange thing to use as a wreath base, but I always feel guilty just throwing it away, so I keep trying to reuse it somehow. Once I had all the pieces attached, I curled the wire ends and then spray painted the entire thing. After the paint was dry, I started adding my floral. When I first came up with this idea, I thought the theme of silver bells would work great for this wreath, so I used silver, gold, and white for all the elements. Most of the flowers were purchased from Dollar Tree with a few from Hobby Lobby. If you are not a fan of glitter, this wreath is not for you because it's loaded with it. To attach the flowers, I used hot glue and wire just like you would with a grapevine form. I tried to keep the sides balanced, so whatever I added to one side, I added to the other. Since my theme was silver bells, I added 3 of them to the bottom to hang below the bow. I just laid 3 ribbons on top of each other and then just made 6 loops and took another ribbon and tied it in the middle and then just fluffed out all the loops. I then finished adding all the flowers and the bow. Next, I took a piece of chipboard and painted it white. I found an image on Etsy of the lyrics from the song Silver Bells, so I printed it onto rice paper and then decoupaged it onto the piece of chipboard using DIY liquid patina. When that was dry, I used Ranger Distress ink and Vintage Photo to darken the edges of the wood. I then used Pentart silver metallic wax all along the edges. To finish it, I glued some skinny wood sticks to the back and then glued it onto the wreath base. I will say it turned out so much better than what I thought it would. For my next project, I'm using another one of the doors from a China hutch. I removed the glass and used it as the pattern to cut out a piece of thin fiberboard. I then used wood glue and the original rubber strips to attach it to the frame, then gave it a coat of paint. This door had a 1980s design carved at the top, so I used the IOD Holly Lane mold and some air dry clay to cover it, and then gave it a second coat of paint. I love the movie White Christmas, so I found this SVG on Etsy and used my Cricut to make a stencil. I'll have the Etsy shop listed below, but you could easily just use stamps or stencils to make it. I like to use what they call the hinge method when I'm laying my stencils down. It's simply you put a piece of tape across the center to keep it in place, and then peel off part of the backing. Then you just cut away. Cut the backing away. And then you can lay your stencil back down and it keeps it in place. And then you just continue peeling the rest of the backing off and lay it down. It helps if you have a really large stencil that you're trying to get down in one piece. It keeps it from shifting around on you. get my transfer tape off, I usually just roll it back on itself instead of lifting it. Then that way you have less chance of pulling your stencil up. And I also like to use the Oramask 813. I like it because it sticks really well and it lessens the chance of bleed through. And then I will just go over the entire stencil with my base color, let that dry, and then use my final color on top. To decorate some of the open space at the bottom, I used the IOD Evergreen Stamp set and some Stays-On ink. I then painted all the stenciling and the molds. To finish it, I used antiquing wax on the molds only and then attached the handle back on. For my final project, I'm using some wood slices, an embroidery hoop, and a small nativity that I purchased at Walmart. I started by gluing the embroidery hoop onto the large wood slice using wood glue and hot glue. I then cut one of the smaller wood slices in two and glued it around the hoop and then used antiquing wax to stain the wood. I ended up adding a third wood slice because I needed to add a little more height in order to fit the nativity in securely. I'm not a fan of how the figurines are painted. I tried to remove them, but they're really glued down and I'm afraid I might break them if I force it too hard. So I'm just going to paint over it all with white paint, in situ. After I painted the figurines, I gave them a coat of antiquing wax and then glued it to the wood slice and also glued the back of the nativity back on. I then glued a few trees to the background and added some Spanish moss and sheet moss to cover the bottom.
For the top, I used a small grapevine star and added a thin piece of wire and some hot glue to attach it to the hoop. To finish it, I added fairy lights inside the star and then glued the remaining lights on the back of the hoop and the back and inside of the nativity itself. I want to thank everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed these easy Christmas upcycles, and I'll see you in the next video.